we'll bring that item forward because there's some people here doing the deputations who'll be interested in it. So first up, I'd like to welcome Nicola and Jill, who are here on behalf of Housing First, who will talk to us about their work in the city around homelessness and outline the role they play. Welcome. Good morning.
So I'm Jill Hawkey, I'm the Director at the Christchurch Methodist Mission, and my colleague Nicola Fleming. And the Christchurch Methodist Mission holds the contract with the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development for the Housing First project, and we employ the staff, but it's a collaboration across 6 organisations that you'll see on the back of your handout that's on your desk. And so it's great that the City Mission, one of our partners, is here with us today as well. So part of it is also just to thank the City Council, because Housing First has now been in operation for 7 years, and the City Council gave significant both financial support and also personnel support at the beginning in helping us get Housing First off the ground in this city. So now we're adequately funded by the Ministry of Housing, so don't need that ongoing support, but really grateful for the support that you gave us. So I'll hand over to Nick, who will give us a bit of an update on where we're at with Housing First.
Kia ora koutou, my name's Nick, obviously, I'm Manager at Housing First. I just wanted to say thank you too for the funding we received in 2018. It's supported us to allow kaiwa, which is our clients, to integrate into community, which is one of our principles. So bus cards, phones, all those type of things. So that's been really helpful. Thank you too to Rose and John, who support Housing First. They're from the council as well. And Josh and Matu, who we work with the City Mission, who send us a lot of referrals, which is what you will see on the back here, but I'll cover that shortly. So I just thought I'd quickly go through this brochure, which I've printed out for you, and you're more than welcome, obviously, to take it away. We currently are working with almost 300 kaiwa, so it's a really busy space, which is always increasing, unfortunately. We have 82 on our wait list. Generally, this is about what we sit at all year, so never seems to go down. We have 40 whānau, so when we first started Housing First, we generally picked up older males from the streets. Now we're picking up people with kids, so it's really, really sad space to be in. What you'll see here is our whānau team, which we introduced last year. They work with OT to get kids back into care or to get visiting rights with our kaiwa. Quite often people forget that homeless people also have tamariki, so it's a really important space for us. The Commons, which is well supported by the council and used to be down at the Commons next to the Town Hall, now runs at Phillipstown Hub, so it's a lunch for kaiwa and it's used for us to engage and connect, and Josh and Matu go down there too. So we get a lot of referrals down there. It has lost traction in the last month, but we're just going to pick that up slowly when we get another space, so that'll be good. We've started our own health clinic. This comes into us through the Disc Trust, so you might know it as Roger Wright or Hep C. What we found is kaiwa don't connect to GPs, or they can't get into GPs, so they find it quite a white-walled, scary space with heaps of barriers. So our health clinic runs. 95 kaiwa have been through there, and a lot of them are not connected with GPs, so it's a really important space for us. Lots of really good things are picked up, Hep C being one of them. Our labour pool, which is run by one of our partners at Te Whare Roimata, so it's a into-work package. They help kaiwa get work ready. So we've started that. It's been almost going a year. We have about 5 people who attend there, and they're just getting up and going to work each for 3 days a week. So really important space. If they don't get to work, they learn how to ring in and not go to work. So it's all those type of things. Rangarua, which has now been going 2 years, really important space for us. We have a group, and it's a growing group, and of huge concern to us, of people who can't get housing in Christchurch any longer. They are often high, complex needs, huge mental health, huge risk, and we have a group of them, as I said, which is growing, where we just cannot house these people anywhere. No one can take them. They've had 4 or 5 chances of housing, lost it all. We've opened Rangarua, which is in Hagley Ave. Sorry if you've heard about it. It may not be a great story, but it is a challenge for us, and it's something we're pretty proud of. We house Māori in there, 7 males, 1 female, and work really hard to teach them how to hold a tenancy. So it's a learning space, it's a learning environment. It's very challenging, but we're proud of it. You will see on the back of your brochure, referrals, huge increase. Homelessness is not going away and it's getting worse, and we're really worried about that. So we're doing all we can to help in this space. We've got currently about 215 people in housing who we support and provide wraparound care for, which is the only option we think is working. Some of it works, some doesn't, but we've got a great team of about 35 staff who work every day on this stuff, so it's really important. You'll see on the graph there's people who have been housed over 12 months. It's hard to keep people into housing who have been homeless. Really, really tough, and it's really hard for them too. Some of them haven't lived in a house for years and years and years, so it's a lot of work for us to teach them how to do that and for them to be able to do that and feel happy in that environment. So 139 people over 12 months, so we're really proud of that.
Okay. All good?
Yep.
Thanks very much. Now, you've used all time up, but has there anyone got a burning question that they'd like to ask? No? Thank you. Oh, yes, please.
I just thank you. That's really interesting. I guess, would it be true that actually some of the reason that people don't last a long time in the house or the unit is due to the company they keep?
Sometimes,
So
yeah.
how do you manage that? You've got to teach people to be able to sort of say, no, you can't come round and,
Yeah, I think there's lots of aspects to it, because they come from the street or couch surfing or whatever, they have their friends. They then get a house and their friends are still on the street. So they like to think, I'm going to help them. Let's give them a bed for the night. So that's how that starts.
Right.
Drug dealing and addiction is also an issue. So that's what happens too. But our staff work really hard, and we work with police and we work with tenancy managers and all those type of people to say, is this a good thing for you? Are you going to get any further in that housing if you continue with that? That course of life, I guess. So it's a learning thing, but it doesn't happen overnight, and it happens a lot.
No. But
Yeah.
do you feel that you're getting somewhere?
Yep. So I think the graph on the back of 139 remaining in housing for 12 months and over is a huge success. So we keep them in there. Yeah, I think the hardest thing for us is lots of people lose tenancies, and then to get another one is really tough too.
That's right.
Thank
So if we get private properties, which is what we sometimes have to do, that lease is only for a year, and sometimes that ends after that year, and then they're homeless again, and really hard to get them back into another house. So lots of challenges.
That's good. Thank you for coming in, and thank you
Thanks.
so much for the work you do. It's brilliant.
Cheers.
Much appreciated. Okay, so now I'd like to welcome Bridget, who's here on behalf of the Green Lab, who will talk to us about how they utilise urban greening for social wellbeing and the work it undertakes around Christchurch. Welcome.
Kia ora, tēnā koutou, ko Bridget Allen Tokoinga. I am the current director of the Green Lab. My background, I've got a degree in fine arts from Canterbury University and landscape architecture from Lincoln University, and also the co-founder of Stitchamet in New Brighton, and still on the board with Stitchamet. I've been in this role coming up 2 years working for the Green Lab. So the Green Lab was formerly Greening the Rubble, and is a grassroots organisation set up after the Christchurch earthquakes. Our purpose is to create meaningful green spaces around Otatahi with a focus on sustainability, gardening, landscape and urban design on a practical level with social wellbeing outcomes. Greening the Rubble, as you probably all know, was a sister organisation with Gap Filler and Lives, and was part of city placemaking after the earthquakes. And it was all made possible with funding from the Christchurch City Council. So we'd like to thank you for that. These groups have put Christchurch on the map for community-led disaster response. And like a phoenix, good things come from the rubble, and Greening the Rubble saw the strength in the work we do in the community after the earthquakes as a way of connecting people together with plants, landscaping and nature-based solutions to build a stronger, more resilient communities. So hence we changed our name and now trade as the Green Lab, as we're moving with the evolving city landscape, and we can face more, help to identify more uncertain times with climate change, and when we face things more like with fast flooding, we still see strength in working with vulnerable groups to help strengthen their wellbeing and strengthen the environment and upskill people. So some of the stuff that we're working on at the moment is building schools. So we work at the Phillipstown Community Hub as well, where we, with the Enliven funding, we did manage to build a hard material workshop space where we run workshops and we work with a diverse range of people from preschool age children, elders, students from Te Kura, university students, people in between jobs. We've connected with Housing First and hopefully some of their people can come to these building workshops. Since we've been running in May, we've had 100 visits to the workshops where we've built insect hotels, bird boxes, reusing ACM signs that go into landfill, and flower presses. From these workshops, we've also been doing building workshops at the New Brighton Community Gardens as part of an ecological residency that we're working on in New Brighton. Our office is at the Avon Hub, which is in Shirley, and we're working on the green space around the outside of the building. We have also affiliated with the Eastern Sports Recreation as their sort of green arm and help add to the recreational services in terms of gardening and workshops that we can run. And we're also looking at moving our mobile lab into Rāwhiti Domain where we can further increase these workshops on ecological issues. And we're also setting up events looking at the cocaine reserve and hopefully a seasonal booklet on what you see when you go to the beach and what you see when you're walking along the river. We also do a really strong part of our work is working with other community groups and co-creating outdoor spaces. We built a nature play for the Avon Otakaro Forest Park with funding from Hummingbird. We've also designed a children's play space for home and family. And currently, our really exciting thing is our natural dye garden with the White Room, where we're going to host a lot of workshops on what natural dyes are. And also we're working with the Canterbury University, the Computer Science Department on an interactive solar energy piece, helping to communicate to families and educate them about what solar energy is and what community energy is. So these are just some of the community groups that we've worked with and our funders. We'd really like to thank the City Council for the funding that we have received from you. Yep.
Good. I've got a question for you. If you go back a couple of slides, that one.
Yeah.
Have you got a place for, because some contractor people I know, they sometimes have to go and look for lizards, right?
All right.
They might not be happy about it, but they are, and when they've got to do it, they've got to get them. The biggest problem is they've got nowhere to put them. Have you got an area that is all right to put them in?
Yeah, well, we're currently designing a lizard lounge.
Right. Silly me. But there are one of the problems that I'm hearing is if a subdivision is taking place, you have to do an ecological report and go out and say, right, look at it. If you find some, at the moment, whoever finds them has got a problem of somewhere to take them.
Yeah.
So have you, I wouldn't say registered lizard lounge, but I'll get our guys to talk to you, because if you can take them, not council people, I'll get them to have a yarn if that's right.
Yeah, no, it should be really good. We're building that at the Avon Hub, so they really like stone walls. So there's already that stone wall that's there and it's a bit rubbly there. And we've been using our old corrugated iron from building projects, cutting it up. And so it's actually the guys from Salisbury Street Foundation House. One of them has actually he takes home the corrugated iron and does it back at Salisbury Street. And then another guy is painting, he's done these amazing paintings of lizards on these little corrugated stacked towers that we'll put in with the gravel, and hopefully the school from Shirley Intermediate, the kids there will help us build it.
I'll get someone to come and have a yarn to you. That's good. Thank you very much. All good? Thank you very much. Good on you. Righty-ho. We now have Joshua from City Mission Outreach, who's here to speak about item 15. And he's got a wee presentation as well. So good to see you, man.
Kia ora and good morning.
Hey.
My name is Josh Potter Gardner, and this is Machi Taitoko. We are the outreach kaimahi for the Christchurch City Mission and the city at the moment. First off, I'd like to give acknowledgements to the council, to our councillors, to John, Slaughter, Gary and Rose, our collaborative partners, other community service providers that we work with, and I'd also like to give a shout out especially to the Parks and Recreation of the City Council. They have been very good at keeping in touch with us and helping us support our whānau within the red zone. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to our homeless whānau, the most important acknowledgement for us. Over the last 6 months, homelessness is a symptom of many, many different factors. Over the summer, we expected a summer migration, which we've seen every year for the last couple of years, where there's been an increase of whānau from across the country coming to Ōtautahi seeking housing. This was normal. This is normal to us. However, the central city had been quiet in regards to visual homelessness. New Brighton and Riccarton seem to be a lot popular with people sleeping very close, especially New Brighton with the beach and the visual homelessness that's in Riccarton. Changes between September. We had seen in September an increase that we have not seen before. And due to this, I feel, as government changes with MSD and the changes with emergency hotels not being accessible for our whānau, it is very difficult for us to get somebody into emergency hotels due to what they call contributing to homelessness. We had the Auckland City Mission increase with an increase of 58% people on the streets. We had Wellington City Mission increase with a 40% increase. This time as our data started to increase dramatically with visual homelessness. January this year, we had 59 new people that Outreach had met that had been homeless. This ranged from the age of an 8-week-old baby laughing in a tent, a 75-year-old grandfather sleeping in a slide, and a family of 6 living in a portacom. This is some of the things that we are seeing. We are seeing homelessness in every single ward that the councillors are at. We have been called out to Godley Head. We have been called to all parts of the city. A big increase that we've seen in the past few months, which is very different, is the increase of women on our central city streets alone. That is something that is very different to what we've normally seen. What's been contributing to this homelessness? For us, homelessness is an epidemic. We can see this in our country. It is increasing very, very fast. The tail is getting longer. Individually, we are winning at homelessness for certain people that we can help into housing and onwards. But overall, we are absolutely getting slammed. Day by day, we are meeting new people every day. Our shelters are full, our transitional house is full, and we are turning people away daily at the gate because we have no room for these people to come and sleep somewhere safe. As I said before, the MSD changes benefit the sickness and job seeker. I spoke to a man today that found out that his benefit's been cut. He doesn't know because there's no access to internet, no home address to access the mail. Found out today. He's pretty stressed out this morning about what he needs to do to get his benefit up and according to the debts that he has. The cost of living. Cost of living is insane. We have slumlords out there that are charging $350, which is the maximum that you can get for your single person accommodation supplement. This is why I think we see people begging on the streets as well for money. $350 for a single room. This is known. This is known to us as well. The lack of affordable housing. I think that's something that I don't really need to get into. We see this all the time. Our social housing stock, it's very limited. Our tail is getting longer. I know that our collaborative partners are doing all the best they can to get our whānau into houses. But at this moment, as I said before, our tail is getting longer and longer and longer. It's really hard out there. We've got whānau out there that would need to get a medical certificate. I myself went to the doctor last week. It cost me $119 for 2 visits, and I work full time. That's a big chunk. When you're on the street, I don't know where that money's going to come from, let alone if you are registered with a GP. We have issues with people leaving prison. We have issues with people with no ID, no bank account that arrive on our streets. So in order to get a benefit, if that's required, it will take at least 4 weeks to get your ID from Kiwi Access and then another couple of weeks to get your benefit on board in that. I know I'm talking about people that are on the benefits that are homeless, But let's talk about the full-time workers that we also meet that are living in their cars, finding somewhere to sleep at night and go to work. Let's talk about the students who work full-time, study full-time, that are trying to better their lives for all our communities, having nowhere to live, sleeping in their cars, getting dressed, getting fed, going to study, then finding somewhere to sleep that's safe. We have met people from all ages. Homelessness does not discriminate. I've said this before and I say it again very loud. Homelessness does not discriminate. We have met, as I said, from 8 weeks old to 75 years old. We have met all races. We have met all people. We have people from the refugee centre that will come and reach out to us for help. This is an epidemic right through New Zealand. Some of the solutions that me and Machu talk about, is on a outreach level. I challenge all your councillors to go and talk to your local MPs. Spread the word that we are sharing here. Tell your MPs, National, Labour, whoever, all of them, let them know so we can get a message to the top that this is an epidemic. We had 4,500 people living in emergency hotels throughout New Zealand in September. The government released data that said there was 500 down by December. Ironically, that is when our street visual homelessness increased dramatically again and continues to climb. I think, as you could see in the data earlier before, back one, next one. And here, with the interactions that we had, last year, I had 215 people that I was dealing with. This year, it is over 300. So that's an increase of 90-something. Outreach is actually at the streams of what we can provide and maintaining who we are, maintaining the work that we do out there. We are only 2 men that are out there in the city, doing the best that we can with all the supports that you have and with our collaborative partners as well. But again, we need to get word to the top that something else needs to be done. Something else needs to be heard. The government needs to hear about this very clearly. As I said, doctors were being the cost of living, the lack of affordable housing stock, and with our solutions, we talk about safe zones. Safe zones for our whānau to go to. When we come across women sleeping in beaten up cars in the middle of nowhere, there's concerns for their safety. When we talk to children, that I would like to add, you can be a good parent in a car. You can be a great parent in a cabin. Just because you don't have a home does not mean that you are a bad parent. But there's a bit of issues with that too, because people are frightened to talk to us. It takes us a bit longer than it used to engage and build a little bit of trust and hope with them. Our job is a very privileged role for us to do what we do. We step into the lives of our most vulnerable, and they allow us in there. So that's why my acknowledgement is to our homeless whānau for allowing us to hold on to their hope and also their trust. What is the most important thing in the world? He tangata, he tangata, he tangata. Let's prove it. Let's have action. Let's do it. Holding on to one's hope and walking alongside our street whānau is a privilege. Being their voice and being able to talk their story is a privilege. Housing is a human right, not a privilege. Thank you.
I've got 2 questions, 3. Sarah, please.
Thanks so much, and thank you for the work that you do. When we do approach MPs, those kind of things, what is the ask that we make? What is it in those policy settings and things that needs changing so we can be really specific and targeted with our approaches?
I really believe that we need to tell them the truth. It feels very blind. I feel personally that we have a Prime Minister that's ignoring the facts of the bodies on the sleep, that there's been a huge increase in Auckland, 58%, in Wellington, 40%, not talking about all the small towns and villages in between. These are the major centres. I mean, I've been up to Auckland, I've seen the homelessness down the southern motorway, I've been to Wellington, we've been to Wellington, we see the homelessness there. We've seen the increase of people that are coming back into the central city. That's a sign of the pressures.
So a reversal of those changes that they've made as a start?
Yes.
Or on top of that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks.
Okay.
But tearing down walls in order to build pathways instead of making it harder. Yeah. It's expensive to be poor on the street.
Okay, Andre, please.
Thank you. Are you able to touch on the kind of reasons people are being denied emergency housing and what types of, I'm talking people with kids as well, women on their own.
From what I've heard, from on the street, people, they won't even try. You know, they'll get to the front desk at MSD, ask for emergency housing, and be told, no, you contributed to your own homelessness.
Right.
What contributes to homelessness to me is very different to a case manager from MSD.
Kia ora, Josh.
Okay. So, I mean, so you've got very clear evidence of people being denied emergency housing contributing to more people having to spill out into the streets. Very, very clear evidence. Well, Mr. Mayor, you and this council able to write to the minister, basically stating we've got very, very clear evidence that a change in policy has led to more homeless on our streets in Christchurch, and we do need to express concern about it. Like, yeah.
We'll
support for
liaise
that.
with them about
Yep,
what evidence.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, we're running out of time, but I've got 2 questions here which we'll do because this is very important. Kelly?
Thanks, Josh. I'm always inspired by the work that you do and to change lives. And you're talking to a very privileged group of people around this table. What is it that we can do practically right now in terms of physical resources? Is it money? You know, what is it that we can do right now for you? Like if we took up a collection, you know, from councillors, is that sort of thing going to make a difference?
I guess for us in outreach, for coming into winter, a lot of our focus is keeping people warm and dry and healthy. We see a lot of injuries, so I mean, to me, that's the focus. While we have a lot of whānau out there, they need to be warm and dry and healthy as much as they can. I mean, I saw people with scurvy on the street.
Wow.
You know, it's enough said. You know, in a sense. But I mean, yeah, I mean, absolutely anything and everything, Kelly, we would accept and get out to the street. But again, I mean, talking to our MPs in your local area, and actually being heard would be the best thing, and just keep on talking that. I mean, we are always available to talk to any of the councillors at the table
Thank
about
you.
what we need.
Yep. Thank you for putting up time. Tim? And Tim's last one, please.
Yeah, you mentioned about the dole taking weeks, you know, to get and for those who are most in need, whether they've lost a job, whether they've been on the street for a while. That's been around for like over 20 years, you know, like, so irrelevant of political parties and prime ministers and ministers, etc. It just seems that no change goes into the ministries. So, I mean, do you have any comment with that? Because, I mean, we've all had hard times in our lives, but, I mean, you think, why doesn't it change?
The perspective that I come from there is if you come to the street with absolutely no ID, you know, we've got to find ways to get a birth certificate that proves that ID. Then you need to get a proof of address sometimes for a Kiwi Access card. You know, that could take 30 days. And then by the time you make an appointment to see an MSD and get your benefit on top, that's the weeks that it takes. I mean, having a bank account is difficult out there, let alone ID. It's very difficult for our whānau to get bank accounts out there.
So maybe we should be talking to those ministers saying we've got to, for those who are most in need, the process actually has to change in the sense that let's provide something in the short term, which is 30, whatever it is, to ensure that they're okay, and then let's join the dots. Would that be the better way to go?
I feel so, yes.
Thank you.
There's easier ways.
Yeah, well, it's only been wrong for 25 years or something, so hopefully we can turn around. Then, look, thank you very much for the work you guys do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
And thank you from me too, Joshua, because you are certainly at the cutting edge and seeing it as it is. So thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Okay, there's no petitions, but because of my excitement of not, and I moved it and Pauline seconded the apologies, even though she didn't know, we'll move the apologies. All those in favour of apologies? Aye. Against? Thank you, that's carried. So now we're up to some minutes, so I will move those and Pauline will second those. There's